Can I get a moment of silence to decrease all this violence? In the streets ain't no peace, just some police and some sirens. All I need is a moment to clear my thoughts. It'll take more than a moment to repair my heart. Can I get a moment of silence to decrease all this violence? In the streets ain't no peace, just some police and some sirens. All I need is a moment to clear my thoughts. It'll take more than a moment to repair my heart. I need a moment. Assassin style, nigga. What's up, now, nigga? What, nigga? Get buck, nigga. What time it is? Sit down, get buck, nigga. What's up? Y'all know what time it is? Ever since I started rapping, things just ain't been the same. I got the heart of an assassin, and silent is the name. It started off like 95. Ain't had much of a style, wasn't all the way serious, but I still had to try. I was always good with rhyming, but never put them to beats. Trying to spit with perfect timing, but slipping up on my speech. I really did it just for fun. Freestyling with my brother and a couple of other niggas. We just wildin' with each other. Put on the instrumental, pass a nigga a number 2 pencil. I got a rhyme up on my mind, I got some things up on my mental. A couple years have passed, I slow down with the rapping. See, time is moving fast and ain't much really happening till the end of 99. I got an interest in making beats, man, combined with my rhymes. I got a plan to shake the streets, but I'm only getting started. I ain't really ready yet, but give me a year or two and y'all gon' see me as a threat. You gon' see me as a threat when I unleash my lethal weapon. Words are weapons, heard you testing, but your words ain't worth a second of my time. On my rhymes, I guess it's just my state of mind. I told these niggas make a line, cause they could never take my shine. You gon' see me as a threat when I unleash my lethal weapon. Words are weapons, heard you testing, but your words ain't worth a second of my time. On my rhymes, I guess it's just my state of mind. I told these niggas stop they line, cause they could never stop my shine. I'm learning more every day, getting deadly with the beats. Y'all better make way and get ready in the streets. Nobody taught me nothing, I learned by trial and error. Turn nothing into something and you wonder why I'm a terror. I'm a microphone wizard, ice cold as a blizzard. Chopping niggas up like scissors every round I deliver. Niggas often wanna battle till I kill them off like cattle. Pull a rhyme up out my mind and watch they damn brains rap. Niggas think I'm scared, I'm not. Inside my head is plots, got no time for petty battles. I got plenty of songs that's hot, so excuse me for a second while you finish your session, nigga. I'm recording records while y'all still be second guessing. Niggas took me for a joke, so now
What's up, Straight Talk Society? This is your host, Trevor, and I'm back with another episode of Straight Talk with Trevor, the podcast where no topic is off limits. On today's episode is going to be a very special episode. If you follow me on social media, you've kind of seen the flyer. February 19th, 2020, the world lost a beautiful soul. A friend of mine that I've known since we were in elementary school. And I got the blessing from the family to do a tribute episode to him, but I realized that I wouldn't be able to do this show on my own. There's no way in the world that I could do a show like this and do it justice without either having his mom or his brother here. So in studio with me this morning, I have his brother, also a dear friend of mine from the 90s, Mr. Vish Williams.
What's up, Trevor?
What's going on, buddy?
All right, man. Great to be here.
Long time no see.
Oh yeah.
It's been too long.
Bring back a lot of memories.
Yeah. So, all right, we know why we're here. Let's let's just start from the beginning. So let's kind of start from the beginning and then kind of just work our way forward.
Right.
Tell me, just tell me a couple of words about your brother.
Fish, I call him Fish. That's the nickname we gave. I gave him earlier on. His name is Vish. I would call him Fish. And later on, he would make an acronym for that name. Flavor is strictly hardcore. Yeah. And he did that in a song, one of the songs we made. I think it was the song called Blindside that we did. And he's just real, genuine. He doesn't have an agenda. He's not plotting to manipulate or do anything other than just being a laid back, straightforward, honest person. Everybody that knows him, first thing that you'll see is a smile when mentioning him, because he was shy, he was subdued, or very laid back, but at the same time he could be witty, outgoing, filled with a lot of energy and passion. And if you're close to him and you're like immediate family or close friends, you got to see those great moments. But even if he didn't know you, he would always extend his hand out to help out and really, really do what he could to help your situation, even with very little time spent with him. But again, he did things from a genuine place of just wanting to help people without any looking for something back in return.
So I want to go back. Let's go back probably about 30 plus years. Mm-hmm. I first met him we went to elementary school together. I want to say I met him in the 4th grade, mm-hmm. Westwood Heights Elementary School. And he always was just a cool, quiet dude, man. He just loved basketball, things like that. Always cool. But our friendship really clicked when we moved on to middle school. Mm-hmm. Because we all grew up together. We all live in the same neighborhood. And we all walked to school. And every now and then I would get a ride to school from your mom. So now let me sidetrack here. I'm going to tell you something that you probably already knew, but because this is straight talk with Trevor, and I don't know how controversial this episode would get, but let me just throw a little bit in here now. Okay. I don't know a friend that we had growing up in our clique of friends that didn't have a crush on your mom. So, so I would say that when I think that's why we kept wanting to come over there all the time, because we were like, man, like Fish's mom is so fine, blah, 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 blah. So, we all grew up. I mean, we all grew up together, like became really, really good friends. Mm-hmm. And, we play basketball together. And my meeting him just kind of grew. So where we knew each other in elementary school, we knew each other all in middle school, and then it was 9th grade. It was around high school, 9th, 10th grade, where I met you. Yeah. So now my meeting of you was solely based on one thing: your love for wrestling. So I come over to you guys' house, because again, you guys live right around the corner from us. Yeah. I come to you guys' house to play video games, and I walk into what's wrestling heaven. Mm-hmm. You see walls and walls of wrestling tapes. I mean, with these custom-made covers. Yes. I was like, oh God! And you made them all. So just let's tell me a little bit about that. Well, first of all, when did your love for wrestling start?
love for wrestling started, I think, pretty much. You'll have like the old school WCW or World Championship Wrestling show that came on TBS. My dad used to watch that a lot. We watched the WWF too, but it was mainly that. You know, obviously Ric Flair going crazy, and it was during a time when we just watch it, but we're not into it. But as time progressed, it just got more and more. You got into the Saturday night's main events, the Clash of the Champions, the WrestleManias, and you start getting into it. You start learning the characters. You start learning the different wrestlers and the moves and whatnot. And you're kind of hooked at that point with the storylines. And the passion just grew. And then I started, before we even moved to Florida, in St. Thomas, I would record television wrestling on VHS. And my collection just started building and building over the years, and I always there was always something in me. I like being creative, and I just said, well, hey, instead of just having a regular case, I would just cut out like magazine pictures and do custom artwork and make my own little tapes, and that collection just kept blowing up. And then as we moved here and in middle school, started clicking up with other people that shared the same passion. So, Lonnie, Johnny, other guys that were in school, and then eventually it moved on to folks like you, and that was it. We just kept pushing forward with wrestling.
And we so you actually taught me how to stack VCRs, because everybody knows me as a big wrestling fan. I wanted those tapes, so he would so he would let me borrow like two at a time, and I'd go home, stack VCRs and record them on, what was that, SLP, so I could fit like 2 or 3 videos on on one cassette. And then our friendship just grew. The video games, the wrestling, basketball, but then we all shared another passion, and which it was more so for you guys. I was just kind of along for the ride, but you guys have a love for music.
Oh yeah.
You were just Mr. Rap Music. You'd be able to tell us everything, and then I guess from you, Fish would get all his knowledge. So we'd be at school and he'd just be spitting out, like rappers like MCA, things like that, Spice One, rappers that we don't really listen to,
Right.
So so would you say that you helped shape his love for music?
Oh, for sure. But I know it now more than I did back then. When I was with Fish back then, because we're like 3 years apart. So in the moment, in those days, I'm looking at things like we're on the same level. It almost didn't feel like I'm the bigger brother. And a lot of things, he's the one that like put me onto certain things as well too. So, and that was just normal. And Fish, he's the type, he'll learn something and then work at it, and then he gets really good at it. Whether it be playing a video game, you could get stuck on a level in a game, and the next day he has like something written out. Oh, there's this code, or there's this way, or this is a little trick to get around here, and he'll do it. He'll find a way around it, even with little resources. And he applied that mentality and that way of thinking to his music.
So how close now how close were you guys growing up, like as far as brother? Because you said you kind of saw him on the same level, even though you were the older brother.
Right. There's
that closeness though. You guys were like,
oh yeah, we're like real close. We always been together. We lived together. We shared the same room. We were really close. A lot of what I've experienced, I always would tell him or show him. So we had a lot of shared bonds and commonality that you just can't make up with anyone else. So we were super close, super tight.
So so around that time, around the high school time, did he ever make mention of wanting to be an MC? Like, was it?
No. The thing with Fish was he loved music. Like, he would study it, and he could write. I remember his first rap that he showed me. He came home from school and he was like, "Oh, Venkat, I gotta rap, because I told him like 2 days before, I'm like, I'm gonna write me a rap. He's like, whatever, get out of here. And so I wrote a rap, and it was all disjointed and out of balance. Like, you're supposed to say boom, 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 and a rhyme. Boom, 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 and a rhyme. Mine was like, it was just all over the place. There was no structure. There was no discipline to it, because I didn't know. But I just was writing what I wanted to write, and that was it. And then he came back with his own in like 2-3 days, and it was like, oh my God. So I'm like learning from him, and what I'm reading, I'm like, oh my God, how did you do that? So then he had this rap written down, and we didn't have any beat or anything. So, with my love of music, I'm always in Sam Goody's and Peaches, and I'm in there just like looking for singles, and I'm
Stop
looking
right there. Stop right there. Okay. So the year is 1995, 1996-ish.
Yep.
We went on summer break. So now you have a group of friends. It was Fish, Venkat, myself, and our other friend Rashid.
With some outline other.
Yeah, we'd always we'd ever have a guy come pop in every now and then, but that was the core.
Yeah.
So that was our core group, and like, you guys have to realize the closeness of this group. So we go to school, and it's basketball court or video games.
Oh, damn.
So yes, So we always be doing that every day
without thinking.
Yeah,
it's automatic.
It was just like we're walking home from school. You going to the court? Yeah. All right. Be over by 5 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just walk. Mm-hmm. Now Venkat said, he mentioned singles and things like that. Some of you kids nowadays know nothing about. But he was big on purchasing instrumentals.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I never knew why. So the years 1995, 1996, somewhere around there, 1 or 2 years, we're on summer break.
Mm-hmm.
And the greatest rap group of all time was assembled.
Yes.
Let's talk about Strictly Real.
Strictly Real in the house. Strictly Real pretty much, I wanted to try to rap, try to do something, fun, pass the time. But because we love music so much, and we wanted to express our love for music, so we were like, hey, let's try this. Let's see how it is. Let's see how it will work out. So I would get the singles, get the instrumentals. When I was, I'm watching Rap City like I do every day after you get home from school. I'm watching Rap City. There was a video that came on with a group called Strictly Roots, and I'm watching the video. And then I made a comment to Fish, and I'm like, Strictly Roots? Man, I'm strictly real. And then I'm like, hey, that's the name, because a few days prior to that, we were trying to come up with a name for some, for us being a group or whatever. Just, playing around. This was nothing serious, but it was just like, well, if we're going to do it, you should have a name. And just all kinds of weird names were just there, nothing sick. When I said that, I'm like, hey, let's just go with that.
So, all right, so just so you guys know, you see what's happening here. You have the two brothers that are musically inclined. And Venkat is being modest because he's really into all that production stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, I would watch him edit wrestling tapes and stuff like that. It was crazy. So they were good on the music side. Then you have Rashid, who was another musical guy, not necessarily a rapper, but we're all buddies. So then you have me, the oddball. All I want to do that summer is wrestle and chase girls. And now here they are talking about we're going to do a rap group.
That's right.
And when I tell you the commitment that we made to that group that summer, because my dad has like the baddest 1980s, 1990s DJ set, and these guys were doing things on their end. We'd swap instrumentals and write, like, literally, it was almost like you were watching, what's that puffy show that Making the Band,
yeah.
Where they would write their rhymes and stuff like that, and then go into the studio. And that's kind of what we did that summer. Like, 4 friends committed to being a rap group. And how many albums did we end up making?
No, just one. Well, the group was one. I made like 2.5, something like that. But then I started working later on in the 90s, and that was it.
So let me ask you: do you still have those?
Yeah, it's buried in the closet somewhere. I need to find them, but I know it's in there. I just got to get a new computer because the one I have right now is not right. Once I get that, I can put things together and start uploading things.
So will you come back when you find those? Will you come back so we can play?
Oh God! We ain't gonna disclose all the information.
Oh my God! So do you remember the names of group members? I remember them.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm Big Cat, Whack Assassinated, PWA, because Raekwon in the song for Wu-Tang said Rap Assassinated, so I said, well, I'm the Whack Assassinated. I remember some guy, I forgot his name, he was a friend of mine, he was like, the Whack Assassinated, that's whack! And I'm like, shut up.
Sounds like I said that.
Nah, that and the Fish, it was just Fish. Rashid was called Crazy Ball.
Okay, that's what his name was, Crazy Ball.
Yeah, Crazy Ball. And TWA.
He had TJ Hammer.
TJ Hammer, yeah, TJ Hammer.
TJ Hammer, which also doubles as my wrestling name.
Oh.
So, and I mean, we even made music videos and everything.
Oh yeah,
it was crazy, man. I remember getting my dad's. My dad had a BB gun, and I remember us doing a video where we did like a gun scene at a table, and you guys edited it up. We were jumping in the pool, and it was fun times.
Yeah, we edited that video, and that's the thing, like. Looking back at it, I didn't see it at the time, but a lot of things I didn't see at the time. But if you look back at it, the editing of videotape, that is like making music, making the right substitutions and cuts and alterations to make something new from different elements, and that's the same thing with the editing process. I edit for Fish these tributes, the fan-made videos, and it feels like the same process. It's just a different thing. You're making music versus editing, but it's like the same mindset.
So here we have Strictly Real, which was something we strictly did for fun. And of the 4 group members, I thought if anybody was going to pursue anything, it would have been you.
Yeah, until I got a job, and then it was over.
Just because you had. So for the other 3 of us, like you were the heart and soul of the group. So even when all we wanted to do was go play basketball or whatever, you'd be home editing and you'd be home mixing and doing this and like, hey, let's do this. I remember you even had the little yak back thing, the little sound thing where you were adding sounds into the songs and stuff.
Yep.
So you were always the serious one. And the reason I'm saying that, at that time, I never saw Fish as doing this for more than just hanging out with my brother and my friends. It was never like, this is something that I want to pursue. And now we're in 10th grade. So we go out the rest of high school. And it's still the same. So, okay. So we got to bring this up. So we're buddies, man. I mean, and I don't remember what the tiff was about, like what caused the separation, kind of, but 9 out of 10, it probably was me. So, I mean, just call it what it is. It probably was me. But me and you got at odds because I decided to play a little trick on you guys one night. And I was walking in the neighborhood, me and my cousin, and we decided to put an M80 into a coconut and throw it in your backyard.
Yeah. Didn't like that much.
Yeah.
I was kind of ready to go like those guys in Menace to Society. I was ready to Go find him.
The exact call, and I'm not gonna say the vulgarity of it, but the exact call was, you think that's crazy, you think that's funny, wait until I find your bleep bleep bleep, I'm gonna beat your ass type thing. And you guys gotta remember, back in the mid 90s, I wasn't like what you see now. Now I'm 260 pounds. I was a little string bean back then. So Venkat would have folded me up like a cheap suit. So I spent the majority of the next couple of months avoiding him. Like I wouldn't go to the courts and things like that. And it was kind of weird because now it put Fish in a bad situation because here I am, Fish's best friend is obviously his brother, and here I am at odds with his brother, but I'm still his friend. So we're still like communicating and everything, but it's not how it used to be because, you know, he has a side with his brother. Also, full disclosure, I also back then I even made a couple of diss tracks. You gotta find those.
Yeah, I can remember making sometimes not too direct. Like the whole song wasn't dedicated to you. It was just like little lines and shots, you know. And Fish was there for it, but you know he didn't come on any songs saying anything or whatnot. He was more like just there. You know, I'm supporting my brother, but. Yeah, it's weird. It's like I would say it's similar to the West Side Connection and how Dub C didn't have a problem with Cypress Hill, but he's close to Ice Cube and Mac 10, but he won't say anything. Like, so there's a song on the West Side Connection 96 Bow Down album, I think it's Killer Hill, where they're dissing the hell out of Cypress Hill, Ice Cube, and Mac 10, but you don't hear Dub C on the song at all, and that's on purpose. So he's there, but he's not there, and I think that's what Fish was like. He was there, but not there.
So I was in a rap beef and didn't even know.
I even took like, I don't know if you know Earl the Squirrel, that guy. Earl the Squirrel, whatever he calls himself. He had a thing that he made, a little funny skit. I put that on there.
Wow.
you might not want to hear that one, but
so man, that's crazy. And that's the beauty of this show, because everything always comes back. You know, we can now, as grown men, look back at that and laugh at that. And I do apologize for doing that because it was stupid. But I did a lot of dumb shit, bro. A lot. And I'm probably still going to do some more dumb things. But, so I think we did end up mending things up. It never got back to the way it was.
Right.
It never, I mean, because once you cross somebody one time, and then I think more so what you were mad about was because your mom was so scared.
Yeah.
Because she thought it was a bomb in the backyard. Because I don't know if anybody knows about M80s. I mean, I know now they got louder stuff, but back in the mid 90s, M80s were like dynamite, quarter sticks of dynamite. And we put it in a coconut and threw it in their backyard.
This sounds like some Jimmy Snooker, Roddy Piper type stuff.
So you would think they had all reason to be upset, and he knew it was me. I mean, I could have just denied it and said it wasn't me. Which
they know it was you. Because when she was there, he was like, "That's Trevor."
Yeah, son of a bitch. Yeah, it's so.
It's some crazy stuff, huh, man? We be doing some crazy stuff when you're younger.
Man, so all right, so you graduated around that time, right? You graduated what?
I graduated in 95, but the Fish graduated in 98.
Yeah, so we graduated together in 98. So around 95, 96, you were working. And the group had already disbanded, obviously.
Well, actually, in 96, I was trying to do the military thing, and while I was off, I was recording my first album by myself.
So again, though, look at that. I remember you going to the military because we kept making fun of you, saying that you were going to come back and be gay and everything and stuff like that. But it's you still were the one that was pursuing the music career. I'm still going. You graduated. I'm still going to school with Fish. Fish isn't talking about music.
No.
Fish loves music, but he's not talking about music. The music pursuing is coming from you.
Right. Because I'm like, okay, I'm graduated. I ain't got nowhere to be. I'm in between this whole military thing and figuring out what my next step is. So I'm like, this is like a lot of downtime, and you just never know what could be. Plus, I enjoyed, so I said, let me just go ahead and do it. So I did the real, forgot what the acronym stands for. I think it was Raw, Energetic, Addictive Lyrics. That's what it was, yeah. The real. And something to prove. That's what I called it. And I did those songs, and I remember Fish would say, man, I don't like your music. I don't like it. It's not good. I don't really care for it. I was like, I don't care. Whatever. And I kept going. And then in '97, I started what was called 16 Inches of Steel. 16 Inches of Steel, in my mind, I was saying every track is an inch closer to getting stronger and getting to my goal. That's what the mentality behind that album was. I recorded half the album, then stopped, and then I got into working and stuff like that. And I had Fish coming in on certain tracks. And that's when he showed me the first song he wrote, and then we recorded a song. And the first song he made was called "Like No Clone," because the whole purpose of that is his style is like no clone. Like even if you clone him, you could never get to his level. And he made that song. And I got on the song, and we did other songs. There was this other one that I like called Lyrical Combat, where we were back and forth. We put like Street Fighter sound effects in the background. It was pretty cool the way we were doing it. We did it on the track of Wu-Tang Clan's The Mystery of Chess Boxing, and it was a great track. And we had these sessions, me and him, and I heard things from him that was like, man, he's good. He could do something here. And his mentality was like, we're just doing this for fun. It's not a big deal. Like there was one song we were doing, and he was like just flowing fast as hell. And I'm like, oh my God, that's good. And then he just rubs the microphone into the bed. That's all you heard. I'm like, what did you do that for? You messed the take up. And he's like, it's no big deal, just do it again. Like, you might not get it that way again. And but he was just very like nonchalant about it, very playing around. And I'm like legit getting frustrated with him because one, I see the talent, I see the potential, and he doesn't, and that just pissed me off.
And you're still the one that's trying to produce it. Trying to pursue it.
I'm trying to spark something.
Okay, so here we are, 1998. We all graduate. We graduate high school. So now it's decision time. What are you going to do? This and that. We lived in the same neighborhood, so I still saw you guys, I think up to like a year before I moved out of my dad's house in 99. So that was it. And I hadn't seen you guys.
Because we moved to Coconut Creek in 2000. We moved out to Coconut Creek.
Okay, so right after I left my dad's house, because I remember seeing you. I think you and Greg came by, and I was outside of my dad's house. So I think I may have only seen Fish one time after that, and he told me he was going to like the Art Institute or something like that. Okay. So here's what happens. It naturally happens. Friends graduate high school. They fall. It happens. I mean, we don't see each other for years, and nobody knows what's going on with each other. I saw another friend of ours, and he told me, he was like, man, he said, you remember Fish? I'm like, of course I remember Fish. And he was like, you know he's a rapper. And I was like, get the hell out of here. I said, Vish, I said, if you would have told me Van Cat was rapping. And then he was like, no, he said, look up the silent, but he wasn't calling them silent assassin. He was calling them like silent sin.
Right.
So I'm looking for this silent sin guy, but never could find it. And I was like, well, I said, he must not be that big. What happened that turned our Fish into this silent assassin guy? What happened? How did that happen?
Well, Silent Assassin emanated from '95 on the basketball court. There was a particular game we were playing where he was just making all these shots. And there's this older guy that would be standing there talking his trash, but that day he noticed him making all these shots. And when Fish would make a shot, he would never showboat. He would never act like, oh, yeah, and brag. Because that's not who he is.
He wouldn't be me.
Precisely. So, and that's the other thing too, because like we're more like low key, even tempered, and not braggadocious. So we gravitate to people like that. So that's why Clyde Drexler is my favorite player and his favorite player, Akeem Olajuwon. Sort of the guys that do all the work but get no glory. You see this trend over and over. MC8, Spice One, they're really good, but they don't have the hoopla of the Tupac or Snoop Dogg or something like that. But they're really good, but they just do what they do and they just keep it moving. So we have that in our nature. So he's making these shots and he's just like, yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. He just walks down the other end and plays defense. And the guy in the audience said, oh my God, that guy's a silent assassin. And that's when the name came into play, and then it just kept going. So he's not we're doing Strictly Real, but he was like just here and there, like little sprinkles of like verses, not real serious. And he wasn't taking rap serious until I would say, you go past 95, Strictly Real Time, 96, my album, 97, 16 Inches of Steel second album. And that's when he was frustrating me just playing around a lot. So 98, he's working. And then in 99, he's going into the Art Institute. And there's a music program in this institute. And in Art Institute, they just go through the basics of creating music and whatnot. So it expanded his knowledge on what he already knew. And in 2000, I built him his first computer from scratch. When I built that computer, he started loading all kinds of music apps. He started getting microphones and all these things. He had this whole hookup and setup. I'm like, okay, what? Now out of nowhere, he just had like these tracks. He just started making tracks, and they just kept flowing out tracks everywhere. And I'm listening to him, and it's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because in my mind, I'm like, we go from Strictly Real to this. And it's like, Strictly Real is instrumentals from artists, and you're just doing your own little thing. And then you go to, he is creating the music, making the music do what he wants, reacting the way he wants it to. And now this is like legit music he's making now.
So he made his own beats. He made all his own beats.
All his beats. He has like about 1,000 beats on his computer, and they're all his creations. So from scratch, he did it all, man.
So in total, okay. So now, so what would we say? This would be like the year 2000.
Yeah. So in the year 2000, he's making his tracks. So by 2001. The first album, Uncommon Knowledge, was the first album, and that featured World's Realest, and like that's like an homage going back to Strictly Real days, being like a lot of emphasis on real and being a realist, and from that point, he just kept making more music. Went into the second album. By 2003, he had a Loner, a Rebel. And then as the years progressed, he just kept making more albums. He would always have an album name, and then shortly after, there would be all these tracks he would make. And it's crazy. But, you know, one thing I want to say, like, in the moment of us doing certain things, you know, you don't realize what you're doing, and also that other people would do it or are doing it as well. So, you know, you look back at 95 with me getting these instrumentals and then rapping over them. Well, that's the exact same formula that 50 Cent did. He was in his grandma's basement and he bought the singles, he rapped over them, put the songs together and released it as a mixtape.
So I went and looked them up, and because again, after my friend told me, I went and looked them up, and I just started seeing like comments on comment boards saying, you know, how he was a legend and this and that, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, is this the same Fish that we're talking? Because I'm back in that time, I'm only mainstream. So I don't know any of the underground stuff. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't know what constituted as a legend. You know, back then, them Hot Boys, you know, Cash Money all day, you know, so that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So how, like, what was his distribution like as far as did he perform in?
No, he didn't get any record deal or distribution or anything like that. He didn't get to release his albums out like until he passed away, and then I got it released. He never got to that point. Like that goes with the frustration that I mentioned earlier, where he has all this talent and you're playing around in the studio when you could be doing more. But he would make the songs and then he would say, okay, we're going to do this, but then it wouldn't get done. Like, for instance, copywriting. For years, I was like, hey, so you need to copyright this so that we can put this out. He said, oh, yeah, I'm going to get to it. And time would pass by and it didn't happen. So as of his passing, he didn't have things copywritten yet. So I copyright everything in his catalog so far.
So, like, what do you say? What do you say was the biggest deterrent to that? Like, as why he never took it. So, because the way I'm hearing this,
yeah,
it sounds like he loved making the music, mm-hmm. but he didn't necessarily care.
But the business part,
if we heard,
right. You're definitely right. And it's strange because I'm his brother, and like, I was his biggest fan, to be honest. I really liked his music. I loved his music, actually. And over those years, I would have to beg him to get me to hear it. Like, he would play it for me right then and there, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, I gotta have that." Like, no, this is personal. This is my thing. It's personal to me, is what he would tell me. And he was just like real protective of it. You know, I would say that could go with his shy side, but that kind of like, you know, put a stranglehold and kind of held things down instead of being able to just freely let it grow. I don't know if he was just concerned that, you know, what people would say, or if it was just he really just wanted it just to be a personal thing for himself.
And because and I'll say this because we're friends, and Fish. You look at his appearance, he strikes me more as a guy working on Wall Street,
right,
versus a rapper.
Right.
Like with me at the time, I had gold teeth and tattoos and this and that, bald head and everything. So I would have fit the bill more. Him, he's more like a clean cut, you know, 9-to-5 Wall Street type guy. So you think maybe that's why he never cared about just being out front like that?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't think that's all the way what it could be. I think it just has to do with him being overly protective of his music, what people might say or what may be perceived. But, you know, at a certain point, you just got to throw caution to the wind and just let it go. I thought he had every bit of talent as anybody coming up in those days. And he could have, if his music could have gotten out in the underground scene or wherever, it would have found its place, I feel. But, you know, all that time passed, and then, you know, plus over the years, then later on, he would move to Virginia for about a year. And, you know, it just disrupted a lot of things. So, but if I would have really liked to see like with just a little bit of backing on his music to see what would have happened. I think it would have been great. And I always think about like this is his early stuff. Like I heard other rappers' early stuff, their mixtape stuff, like when they're trying to get a deal, and this music is his early stuff. It's way better, more put together, more precise than what you heard, like even with Snoop Dogg, the 213 demo album, that kind of sounds like Strictly Real. Like the song that I heard.
I hope not.
Yeah, it does. It does. Where it just sounds a little wild and just kind of like not all there. But it's Snoop Dogg, it's Warren G, and they were going to do great things. But they have to have a start. That's why I've always been one in the day. I always say, I'll never diss my past. You have to go through certain things to get to where you need to be. So it's kind of ridiculous. Nobody should just walk onto the court and be Michael Jordan or touch the mic and be Prince. You want to go through that process.
So I just because we brought up Strictly Real again, I just to give you guys a sample of my rap prowess. I had a line in a solo song that I did that said, "I drop bows like Dusty Rhodes." So now
that's not too far off from a lot of these rappers.
So there you have it. That's why I'm a podcaster. So in total, about how many albums would you say he has?
Oh, Fish, he had 5 direct albums, and then there's content behind that where it's maybe about 2 to 3 more. Because I released a collection of things that he rapped on that wasn't on his albums, and stuff that he produced for a friend of his that made music with him during the earlier times, Merciless the G, and then his sister Chanel also made some music, and he produced all that. So I put it all together in a compilation called Silent Sin presents SINS, and the SINS is an acronym for Social Injustice Needs Solutions, and it just showcased like his producing skills and just gives you some more songs in his catalog. And check it out; it's available right now on digital platforms.
So I'm gonna play a little sample from Uncommon Knowledge was his first album?
Yeah, that was the first one.
So his first song was
The World's Realest.
The World's Realest. So I'm gonna let you guys hear his first song.
Revealed to the world, to my girl, to my friends in the air. So respect what I write on the mic with my pen. I was born for this, and I yearn for this. It's been too long, been my turn for this. So I never ever let another nigga take me, hate me. Better be prepared when you face me. The last nigga standing, demand respect. Till my death, my last breath, let my thoughts collect. Take a quick trip in my mind like a bullet in a chamber. See what you find. Stress, frustration, anger, born in and all cheater, and all around nigga. I put it on my life, ain't nobody really. So think what you want, but I know what you don't. This my planet, damn it, blow it off. Think I won't take cover, make mother shed tears for their sons. I was sent for a reason, so I must be the one. A lyrical genius, you know that I mean this. Down and dirty, but I'm still the cleanest. The realest to ever walk. Your face in this earth since birth, been hurt. Face the world with a smirk. Go loud when I die, preserve my words. Respect and never neglect to make sure they heard. I got a heart full of anger. Y'all think y'all can see me? I got niggas that hate me, but still wanna be me. Was all born to die, but we struggle to live. That's just the way that it is. Teach that to my kids. But they're not even born yet. At times I forget. All I got in this world is family and respect. Life is hard sometimes, so I'ma take what's mine. In the dark of the light, I'm gonna always shine. In the world, gon' feel this. Label me the world's real. The world, gon' feel this. Label me the world's real. The world, gon' feel this. Label me the world's real. The world, gon' feel this. label me the world's nigga. Still breathing, nigga, don't believe in niggas. Y'all phony, don't know me, keep dreaming, nigga. That was the past, things change, I'm a man. Make some poor decisions, but now I make plans. I gotta take over, stay sober always. No real competition, run through like hallways. Now what you expect, I die for respect. Nonetheless, when you see me, you better come correct. Give me all that I need, a world full of greed. Opportunity never knock, but I'll still succeed. Gotta take advantage, won't take it for granted. Niggas always hate me, so you know they can't stand it. So excuse me for having all this talent. Standing on 2 feet, maintaining my balance. I will never fall, walk but never crawl. Y'all coming up small, but I'm forever tall. Looking down at my foes through the path that I chose. I do what I want, nigga, that's how it goes. That's till I die, take a look in my eyes. I'm facing procrastination, but I still gotta try myself to the limit, if you know what I'm saying. Ask the Lord for forgiveness whenever I'm praying. I'm just a living legend trying to make it to heaven, but I can't trust nobody, not even the reverend. Cause he's shady too, he kinda crazy too. Take a look at the world from my point of view, then you'll understand why I do what I do. The thing that separate me from you, giving the world a gift, far from a myth. A little extra to live that you just need to get to excel. I rebel too cold for hell. The world's rhythm, you ain't gotta tell me the world gone. Feel this, label me the world's real. The world gone. Feel this, label me the world's real. The world gone. Feel this, label me the world's real. The world gone. Feel this, label me the world's real. I'm making progress, trying to suppress my stress, but I can't neglect the fact that I'm the best. The rest is phony, lonely, did I say phony? Even if I'm the baseball, you still control. But you can catch this woman, get ticket for looking. Keeping my clothes before I put my foot in. Think a stroll with me, who you supposed to be? Well, I'm the real deal, like Evander Holyfield. Silent assassin, you know what's happening. But if you don't know, then you better start asking. Better learn the name, I don't want the fame. The money and respect is why I came. I don't want the drama, but I'm down for that. Boy, don't you know I got a crown for that? So you might wanna think twice, or even blink twice. Silent assassin, been nice on the mic. Now it's a no fact, nigga, ask your cousin. But how you used to chop them niggas down by the dozen. It's an everyday thing, every day that I bring. That fire on the mic, nigga, ain't nothing changed. It's so damn common, niggas hear me coming. And I even think that they fear me running. God, I'm ducking and dodging, they pausing and sergeant. I ain't even know about the confusion I'm causing. All the time to reveal all the pain that I feel. If you real, you gon' feel me. If you fake, you gon' kneel. If I die today, will you shed a tear? Most of y'all gon' grin from ear to ear. But I won't die yet, they got a lot more to live. Knowledge is my greatest gift, and I got a lot more to give. By the end of the song, you gon' feel this nigga. See, I'm a grown man. If something happens, then it happens. I leave it in God's hands. I tell my mother not to worry. See, I'm a grown man. If something happens, then it happens. I leave it in God's hands. I stay protected 24/7. I ain't buying what you selling. Cause every scheme ain't what it seems. And in my dreams, I picture heaven. Hoping I make it to that level. Cause I'm trying to shake the devil. Making mistakes in my past. I'm moving too fast. I smashed the pedal. Man, I'm slipping, thinking thoughts that got me questioning my heart. And in my mind, I'm trapped in time. I'm somewhere else, I'm feeling lost. I watch my fallen leaders perish, wishing I could bring them back. But I'm knowing the here in spirit and in my lyrics, yeah, that's a fact. What kind of world is this to live in? Innocent people up in prison. I keep my head up to the ceiling while revealing all my feelings. I'm unexplained and unexpected. Through the rain, I stay protected. With no pains, yeah, they reflected. All of the pain that was projected.
All right, so we just we heard a bit of his first song he ever made, the world's realest, and I get what you're saying. He does sound like it doesn't sound any different from like earlier, more popular artists, their first underground mixtapes and stuff. And then we switched over to a song that he was, where they made to his mom. So I wanna get back to the whole distribution process and why do you think? Well, I already told you what I think. That I think that he made the music, but he just didn't really. He didn't care. He didn't care if we heard it, but. So now your mission since his passing is to get everybody to know the Silent Assassin, and how are you doing that?
Well, the day of his funeral, so I'm in the seat just thinking about how much of an injustice all his talents, all his passion for music and the music he made. What an injustice for it to not be heard. We don't care. We never cared about the making money part of it. It was all about the sharing of the love of music. That's why he did his fan-made videos, to share the love of the music he was listening to when he was coming up. And he knew that there was no bigger honor than to be able to make his own music from his own creation and be able to share that, just like he shared the music of Spice One, of MC8, Wu-Tang, Redman, all these artists, the No Limit, Soldier, all these artists that he grew up listening to and idolizing and just really enjoying hearing over the years. He loved that feeling and he loved sharing that with people. So now he's passed away, and I'm thinking about this as we're laying him to rest, and I'm thinking, what can I do to make some kind of positive impact or progress for him? So I said, well, we talked years ago about getting his music copyrighted. Of course, years passed by and things happened, but nothing happened as far as his copywriting, whether it be because of funds or just the time just passed so quickly and he was just involved in other things. It just never got to be. So in 2020, I copywritten all his music, his whole catalog pretty much was copywritten by me. And from there, I had to teach myself the process, learn on my own what to do to get the music out. And I finally found that information, and then we started uploading and getting the music put out to the mass audience.
So you said so now you own, so you all his music is copywritten, and
Yep.
So where could we find everything? Like, so if my listeners, and I'm pretty sure all the friends, I mean, because all the people's lives he's touched since elementary all the way to high school, and a lot of them didn't even know that he passed. When I found out, I posted it in a class of '98 group on Facebook, and they were shocked because nobody ever knew. So where could people go to find the music that want to support him and just hear this work?
Oh, well, it's available on all major digital streaming platforms, Amazon Music, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal. It's available across many different audio digital platforms. So you should be able to stream it, find it. It's on YouTube. You can go to his YouTube channel, soul_in_need. Soul in Need on YouTube, his YouTube channel for the Silent Assassin channel. And you can also find his album, his music, and other content on that channel.
So do you think, I mean, obviously he's proud of you. I mean, the work that you're doing, the hard, tireless work.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a part of you that just wishes that maybe he would have produced more? Because you showed me like these videos that even celebrities, big time rappers, have favorited his music and stuff like that. Like, do you feel, is there a part of you that just feels like it happened too soon? Like he never got that chance?
Yeah, it's ironic because it feels like when he passed, it was like just at a time when he could have, if he was here, he could have released certain songs or done certain content. I would really like to hear what his music would sound like at this point right now, because a lot of that music, most of the music, I think it trails off by about 2009, maybe bleeding into 2012 or something like that. But it's not like right now. And, you know, he's done a lot and did a lot up until his death. So it would have been very interesting. Unfortunately, you know, during the last few years, his voice changed a little bit. So I don't know if that would have affected anything because of, you know, his sickness and whatnot.
So before we get into that, is there anything else you want to say? And if we missed something, let me know. I want to make sure we covered everything about his music. Is there anything else you want to say to his fans, like, or about his music, the mark that his music left? We'll talk about the mark that he left on you personally, but we're talking about right now the mark that his music left, because when I got back in contact with you and you were telling me about the albums and stuff, I went and pulled them all up, and I mean, that guy made some really good music, man. It's like, I couldn't compare it to anything that you're hearing today, because anybody who knows me personally, you know, I think today's music is terrible. Mm-hmm. And I would put his music up against any of this garbage that you hear nowadays. So what if anything you have to say to people musically about your brother?
Oh, well, you know, his music is just like him. It's diverse. It has many different facets and sides to it. You know, there's some songs where you're gonna hear him feeling more inspired and more hopeful. There are gonna be some songs where he's addressing hardships in life. He has a song called "Hard to Maintain." If you just soak in, you know, the words, what he's saying, how he's saying it, the way the beat is, the way the beat sounds. It's very interesting. He's very skillful. He's very creative, and he knows how to bring out subject matter in a way that's not unnecessarily vulgar or explicit, but still being entertaining, still being worthy of being heard by the masses, and he gets his point across. And yeah, I'm just proud of him. You know, every time I hear his music, I'm just proud of what he's done, and I just want to share his art with others. So, and again, it was never about money or anything of that nature. You know, we listen specifically to artists that are not well known, but we see something in them, and we'll follow them. We'll listen to their albums, we'll buy their albums, and we'll support them, because, you know, not everybody can be Michael Jackson, not everybody can be Dr. Dre, but they have something to say. So we never needed the radio to tell us what was good, what was hot. That was never out.
And, you know, I'm glad that you said that, because a lot of times people think that just because you get behind the mic and stuff like that, you're doing it all for money. Like, everybody seems to think that everything is money driven. Even with this show, it's never about money for me. You know, I work 50, 60 hours a week, so I'm good. It's never about the money for me. We do these things because the love that we have for it, first of all. I love just talking, you know. Fish obviously love making great music. But have you ever thought about going to a radio station and saying, hey, check this out?
It's not necessary in this environment that we have today. Not really. I mean, you got artists that are doing their own thing, and without distribution, without a record company, without backing from a radio, it's not necessary, and it's not really worth doing. His thing was like, let's say Vish would have made it into, you know, the mainstream of some at some level. He wouldn't want to be that mega star. He would more likely want to be just respected and appreciated by his peers and the fans because he was not about being flashy or any of that stuff. So we always ran with the underdogs. We never went for the pick of the litter or the ones that had all the spotlight on them. That was never an alluring or attractive thing to us. We always look for those underdog guys. So when everybody's talking Chicago Bulls, we're talking Portland Trailblazers, or we're talking the Houston Rockets with Akeem Olajuwon. We're not going to bandwagon jump and all that nonsense. That's never what we were about. So with Fish, he even said a line in his in one of his songs. He said, "Even if I was rich, my life would still suck." So it was never driven for money. When he did something, it was because he wanted to do it. He was passionate about doing it, and that was really all it was about. So
yeah, he never struck me as someone. I don't think his personality would have lent to being a celebrity. Because like you say, he's just so, laid back and chilled. He doesn't have that braggadocious personality that would fit in today's standards.
He was just a genuine guy. And all I can remember is the smile. And I could just remember the laughs. Any little stupid blooper that a person would do, whether it be on a video or in real life, it would just trigger an outburst of laughter, and then at a random moment, you could just say one little thing, inside joke between us, and we both know exactly what the moment was and what we're talking about. It was just that, just life was just free and fun, and that's all it was for him. He didn't really care about all the other stuff.
So you guys, please go check out. I mean, you guys, and I'm speaking to his friends. I mean, so like his friends is gonna hear this. People who know him from school, go check out his music. Go support his music. Listen to it. Take your time out. We all live in this society now where we always have our headphones in our ears 50% of the day. So you can take some time out and check out his music, man. I think you really love his.
Yeah, he has a cool song that it's like homage to hip hop, and he has it on his last album, Only God Understands, and it's pretty much him treating the microphone, because the name of the song is Me and My Microphone, and the microphone is really representative of hip hop or music in general, and how important it is to him. And it's like he's pretty much talking about it like it's like he's in a relationship, but the relationship is with the microphone and the music. And it's just real creative how he did it. He mixed the song, made the song with a beat that's kind of a throwback retro beat from the 80s, and it's pretty cool. It's an awesome song. People should really check it out, for real.
Well, so in full transparency of this, because you guys know that's just how I am with you guys. I always try to be as open as possible. When we talked about doing this episode, I made it a point that I would not ask what happened. Just because I didn't think it was necessary. But before the episode started, I was talking to Venkat, and I told him I wasn't going to ask him anything about what happened, and he insisted that we talk about what happened. So here it brings us to this part of the show. February 19th, 2020, and today makes 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Today's a 2-year anniversary since his passing, and which is why I'm going to release a show today. So as and I got to be as respectful as possible with this. As a brother, first of all, where were you when you got the news?
Okay, well, that day, in the morning, I went into work, and I just clocked in, and I got a text from Vish, and the text pretty much just said, that make sure you tell my wife to have a good day, and it was just a nice little cordial greeting, and I sent him a text back saying, "Hey, I'm just trying to survive." And I always say that because, the hustle and bustle of the week, working your job. I just always, something I always said. And he's like, "Yeah, me too." And that was the last text we'd shared. I'm saying, trying to survive, and then him saying, "Me too." And then about 7-8 hours later, he would pass away at that point. But when I got the news, I had already gotten home. And I think we were trying to get our dinner together, and I got a call. I noticed my mom sent. She had a message and multiple calls, missed calls, and I have my volume down a lot of times, especially when I'm at work. So I didn't realize it. So when I listened to the message, she just said, "Please call me when you get this message. I have something urgent to tell you." So I called her, and when I called her, she's like, "I just want to let you know, don't freak out, but, Vish passed." I'm like, "What do you mean he passed?" I'm like, "Yeah, Vish passed. What happened?" And she's like, "Well, Chanel been trying to call him. She would get no answer. And then she said when she got home, she saw his car in the driveway. She's like, "Oh, okay, good, he's home." And then when she got in, he was on the floor, and his body was cold to the touch, and he was unresponsive. So she called the paramedics, and that's when the whole nightmare just began. But it hit everyone hard, and it's something that's tough to take now. But we all know that we're only here for a certain amount of time. We don't get to choose how long that is. So, I've had to come to terms with, the grief and the crying and the stress and all those things, they come. But at a certain point, there's got to be a way forward to get to a positive place. So when I sat in that church, when I sat in that funeral home when we were having the service, that's what went through my mind. The unjust passing of him, not being able to fully realize his love and passion being at least heard by others. So whether it's one person, 100 people, or 1,000,000, it doesn't really matter as long as it was able to be shared. So weeks later, I would start a YouTube channel for him to upload content related to him and his interests. I would copyright his music, and then I would release his music to the digital stores. And these were all efforts to just keep his name alive, give tribute to him, and put the focus on him. Because when someone passes, I think a lot of people like to internalize it with their interests and their thoughts only. But when someone passes, I look at it as that it's all about them. It's not about me. It's not about, I would like to have somebody here, and What would they have wanted to be executed in their name for their tribute? And I know that's one of the things we talked about. Him getting his music at least copywritten and having his music released. In the days when he made his music, it was tougher. There was no digital platforms. There was no, so everything would have to be paid thousands of dollars to get it on disc. Now, just with a lot less in costs, you can get it into the ears of a wider audience with less money restrictions. So, it was all about timing. So it didn't happen in the day that it was made, but it happened, and I feel at least something as far as justified that at least I got that part done. But the mission isn't done, the work isn't done. There's still a lot more to do. I want to put together videos for him and release like the last bit of piece of his catalog that's not released at this moment. And I'll just everything I do going forward is just dedicated to him. So it's about him and not me. But my wish is for him to have some good in his life. Well, what was his life?
So his I found out months after. His funeral was actually on my 40th birthday. His funeral was March 7th, 2020. And I found out, I want to say maybe a month or two after, I was talking to one of my friends. No, one of my friends just called me out the blue and said, hey, Fish died. And the first thing I thought was, man, another person gone that I didn't get to spend maximum time with, because when we graduate we all go our separate ways, and everybody did, because in our minds we think we're going to live forever. We think we always have time,
right?
We always think that we're immortal, and so when I heard the news, I was just like, man, the first thing I did, I went on Instagram and just like started hashtagging his name, searching hashtags for his name. And I found the last one that I searched led me to Chanel's Instagram page. And I sent Chanel a long message, and I didn't even know if she ever gonna respond to me, because I didn't know if she remembered me. And she finally responded a couple days later, and she told me, she gave me your phone number. Now, here it is. I have to call you, knowing our history, because we never really made up, but we kind of made up. So I have to call you now, knowing our history and knowing the situation at hand. And when I finally got in contact with you, I could say on my end, it was like we never had any time apart. Like it was weird in that way. And I remember telling you that, I know you lost your brother, but you got one in me. And I meant that, because me and you, like, it was the four of us, man, and we just always, like, we were always together. We were like inseparable. Where you saw one, you saw the other three, and it was just like. And the fact that you lost your brother, man, and I know the relationship between you and your brother, man, I offer myself to you as your brother, and it was just so tough, man. Like, even to this day, every now and then when I see you post pictures of him, I just think about, like, man, that's my friend, man. Like, people, you only have so many friends in life, but I was like, that's my friend. Like, I've been inside his house. This guy's been inside my house. I know his parents. He knows my parents. Like, that's my friend. And it was just, and then when I see your mom post little tributes to him and things like that, it just, I mean, how was it on her? I mean,
it was a tremendous pain. She worked through it, but it's still tough, even to this day. I mean, she's probably crying right now, because today's the 19th. So she handled it. I will say she handled, like, the initial, like, discovering his body and everything like that. Like, that's tough, but she did it, and she had to keep Chanel calm. She had to contact me. She had to contact other members of family. that's in other states and other countries, and she did that. So that was tough, but she's been breaking down over the time it's happened, and that's fine. That's normal. I just don't like when we shut off. Like if a song comes on, turn that on. I don't like that type of stuff because I don't suppress anything. If you really care or love something, you don't want to suppress it. I get people; it could be too much for people, but but so she's been handling it, but it's tough in general. It's tough in general.
So, and again, I said we weren't going to do this, but you said it's have at it. What happened?
Well, and my mom told me that she noticed that in 2015 is when she started hearing the snoring, hearing the not just regular snoring, but that kind of snoring where that kind of like you're losing your breath now, turning into that sleep apnea type situation. And that's something that I guess was just shrugged off as like it's not a big deal, it'll go away. But over time, it just kept going on. And, Fish in general, he would be the one that wouldn't want to eat cooked food. Like my mom would cook like some vegetables with rice and chicken. Sometimes he wouldn't want that. And then we'd have to go get a McDonald's or Wendy's. So, but he was always thin, skinny. So you never would think, if anything, it'd be me that would have anything like that. But, so he wasn't eating the healthiest, I guess. And, at one point he was working 2 jobs, one overnight and one early morning job. So, when you do that, you're going to eat things on the go, and they're not necessarily going to be the healthiest. Plus, he didn't realize with the family history of having hypertension, high blood pressure, which is what is a triggering cause of what he ultimately died of, which was heart disease, the #1 killer in at least America. And that hypertension created the heart disease, and the heart disease, which is a silent killer. On the 19th, he fell down, and that was it. But, us in the black community, we have to start to recognize these symptoms, and we have to understand the choices that we're making with sugar, with high fructose corn syrup, with soy, these things that they're putting in our food. The cheaper food you buy today, the dollar menu stuff, the $5 meals, all that stuff, you're paying that now, but the prescription you're going to have to buy in a few short years to keep yourself alive is going to cost you way more. So these are things we brush off. We don't take it seriously. I think like to the end of Tupac's life, he made like a song that brought up fast food, brought up we have to change the way we're eating. But that was like one of those like rare songs for Tupac that didn't get played like his main songs. So that message got lost. And not many artists back in that day was talking about stuff like that. They were busy talking about other subject matters. But in general, we need to feed that in our consciousness. We need to talk more about what we're eating, how we're eating. We have to talk about mental health. We have to talk about a lot of things to strengthen us as a community. And it's not just black people, but black people, for obvious reasons, are just getting it overwhelmingly. So I just want to bring awareness. I think Busta Rhymes, he went through an episode a few years ago around the same time Fish was going through his thing. But luckily, he saw a doctor, and they were able to make moves to keep him alive. Unfortunately, we didn't have the same outcome. So if it's just a little thing, you may brush it off as nothing, but it wouldn't hurt to just see your primary care doctor and just go over and mention some of these things, because something that doesn't seem like a big deal can be the biggest deal. And I just want to bring that kind of awareness. Don't take yourself for granted. Don't take these situations for granted. Push it and just find out. If it's good, then it's good. You didn't have anything to worry about. But if it's bad, you have everything to lose at that point.
I always in this show, part of the reason why I do this, why I love to do this, is because I can always speak directly to my community. And even in a show like this, the fact that we could still bring awareness to a problem, it shows the need of this type of outlet. And the men in our community, and I'm guilty of it. I mean, my wife's gonna hear this, and she's gonna be like, she's just gonna look at me because the crazy snoring and things like that. I'm guilty of it, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, because again, we think we're immortal and we think that nothing's ever going to happen to us. I mean, but I'll be 42 next month, and I'm only getting older. I just plead to my brothers and my sisters, just if you see a problem or you feel a certain way, attack it right away. Don't let it just linger, because it may end up being too late. And I appreciate Venkat for even talking about that, because here it is 2 years later. I never knew what happened. I didn't want to speculate or anything like that. I just never knew. I didn't want to know. But he kind of insisted, like, yeah, we need to talk about this, because we need to get this message out. So even though we're doing a memorial show to his brother, he still cares enough to look out for his community, to say, hey, open your eyes, change the way you do some things. And he even brought up that mental health, and I've been banging on mental health a lot lately. You got to make sure that your mental health is up to par, man. Because we fight so many demons and battles that people have no idea about, because we won't open up our mouths and say anything. And my condolences to the family, man, because I know them. That's the thing. I know them personally. And that's why I feel the way that I do. It's not just any random person, but I know them personally. And my heart just goes out to his mom, man. Just a sweet lady, man. When I see her, I mean, you could, in her post, you could just feel the pain inside of him. And all I can say to her is just keep your head up. Chanel, I know that was your best friend. I know it. I even because you were always so much younger than us, and you'd always just kind of be in the way when we were trying to do our thing. But that Fish used to always, even though Venkat used to tell you get out of the way or whatever, Fish used to always, I know that's your best friend. Just keep your head up. Just keep your head up, man. And I'm rarely at a loss of words, but I am so honored that I was able to have this show today, with today being what today is, that we were able to do this, that he would even come down here. He lives really far from me, that he would even come down here to do this show with me, man. That means everything in the world. And I promise you, when I said, you got a brother in me, anything you need, you need us to play you already told me I could start playing his music on the show. Let's get this out. Let's get this out. You got any final words to say as we get ready to bring this to an end?
I want to thank all the people that attended the service, especially his coworkers at Target. They were awesome. They were phenomenal. Their support was everything in a time when things felt so dire. The love that was shown that day was very, very overwhelmingly positive, and I do appreciate them. I can't say enough about that. Everyone had great things to say, but you can always say when someone passed that they have great things to say, except that that's not always the case, because there are some people that have passed and people are like, oh, thank God. But my brother is not one of those people. He was a genuine soul. He was a caring person. He looked out for others when he didn't have to, because that's just who he is. And his extension of help, his extension of just being just great down-to-earth person to people, it extends on all facets, in his work life, in his home life, in his leisure time. He reached out to artists on Instagram. He made his fan videos since 2016. He's been doing these fan videos. He's made over 400 and some odd fan videos for different artists just to help promote their music, just to help push awareness of their music. And they have also shown love back. And it's just an awesome thing to see. And about a year after his passing, I decided to continue the fan-made videos, because certain people were saying that they want some fan-made videos. So I figured I would post in his remembrance and tribute to him. So there's certain videos that I want to make that means something. The songs in particular meant something to Vish. So I'll be working on those. It won't be forever, but I've already made several videos already, and I just wanted to just hit a certain number and pay tribute to my brother, because that was one of his other passions. He was known, a lot of people know him for that, but I also wanted the people to know him for his music as well. So I appreciate all the positivity and support, and I want to say thanks to Trevor. He's been solid throughout the whole time, and likewise, as far as when we talked again, it was like nothing ever changed. It was automatic, and that's when you know it's real. There isn't any much words that have to be exchanged. You just get right back on the horse, and that's what we're here to do. So I appreciate just having this show. I just thought that was a tremendous offer to do, and this helps keep his legacy and gives awareness to his name, and I appreciate that.
I know we went long today, but I was not going to rush this. I mean, this is not something you could rush when you're trying to honor a person. You can't rush it. You got to get everything. So I appreciate you guys that will listen to this and check out those fan made videos, and check out the Soul in Need YouTube page, and let's keep his memory alive. Let's keep his memory alive, man. Especially to you guys that called him friend. You guys that knew him growing up like I did. Let's keep his memory alive. Let's support his music. It's not about the money or anything like that, but let's just get the music out there. I think we do each other a disservice by not supporting those that we call friends. So let's change that in 2022. Let's get the word out. So he does have a song that is eerie, and I'm gonna play it on the way out. Were you aware of the "Raining at My Funeral" song?
Yeah. I remember the day he told me about it. I listened to it. I was blown away, because it just felt like next level. Like, okay, I know you're underground here, but this seems like something.
When was that song made?
2005.
2005?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought that was a recent song.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
2005.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, so he's been dropping these bangers. He's been dropping these bangers for a long time. Well, if you don't have anything else to say, I'm gonna close out. Thank you guys for listening as always to Straight Talk with Trevor. Hope you really enjoyed this episode. And in closing, I always leave you with these words. Always seek out the truth for yourself, because if not, you'll fall victim to other people's interpretations of them. And with that, I say peace.
I love you, Vish, forever and ever. Until we meet again. Rest in peace, Vish. Love always, your baby sister, Chanel.
Now the day has finally made it that I'm leaving life like I wanted. Know you wishing I was here. Man, it's raining at my funeral. I know you gon' miss me. Now promise me just one thing, that you will not forget me. I hate no screams of prayers, ain't no need for no tears. Live my life like I wanted. Know you wishing I was here.
Soul in need is no more. Soul fulfilled forever. Thank you.
Thank you. They gotta feel this in silence. He said, everything that's going on now, I can never make it rain, but fine, I make it drizzle. Digging for some change, I got some dimes and some nickels. I can never make it rain, but fine, I make it drizzle. Digging for some change, I got some dimes and some nickels. Give me the pennies, the nickels, the quarters, the dollars, the dimes. Come take a walk through my heart, a stroll through my soul. Being smart from the start, wasn't taught, wasn't told. You could climb through my mind, or fly through my eye. And in time you will find what I rhyme is not a lie. Come take a walk through my heart, a stroll through my soul. Being smart from the start, wasn't taught, wasn't told. You could climb through my mind, or fly through my eye. And in time you will find what I rhyme is not a lie. See you dealing with a vicious mind, hard cold like Christmas time. Every time I write a rhyme, put it all on the line. No need to hold my tongue, hold the mic like you hold a gun. Haters, I'm the chosen one. Fakers, I don't roll with none.